Do you know how tempting it must have been for the Rechabites at this time right here? Listen, they were homeless, folks. They didn't even have tents to dwell in. They didn't even have homes to dwell in. These are people with no homes, with no structures, with no permanence. They didn't own a house or have a roof over their head. And they're not walking through just any house, but no, they're walking through the house of the Lord. And probably, I mean, you can just imagine how impressive it must have been to. They used to have a television program back in the United States. I don't know if it ever made its way over here, called The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And they used to give us a peek into the lifestyles of Bill Gates. And I don't know if you know who that is, but Steve Jobs and all these insanely wealthy people. But we've seen some beautiful houses, but we've never seen anything like the house of the Lord. And Jeremiah gives the grand tour to these Rechabites, these homeless people. And he says, just come on in and just take a look in here. It sounds official, right? You know, check this chamber out. You wouldn't know much about chambers. You wouldn't know much about all that. You're homeless. You don't have anything like this. And he takes them by the chamber of Messiah, and there's a lot of chambers in there. It's a little bit different than the way they're used to living. And I can imagine at this point that the Rechabites probably maybe got a little tempted. They're impressed by the building. They're impressed by everything they see around. But yet Jeremiah says, I want you to drink this wine, and the Rechabites still say no. I know sometimes we can look around at Pentecost sometimes and we can see sort of, well, it's just a little thing that God's doing. It seems like sometimes, and it looks like maybe there's other groups that have more than us and have bigger things than us. And the temptation is always to just drink a little bit here, just sip a little bit there, and then you can have all of that if you let go of this. But children, I believe the Father's telling us tonight to talk to some strangers. There's something the Father wants us to get tonight, that even in the most impressive house, the tent dweller says, sorry, no offense, but I have a revelation of truth. I know what I've been taught. I know what I believe, and I'm not letting go. I want to trade this for the world. I want to trade this for the world. And if we have to meet in dance halls, and if we never, it's all right, because we have the presence of God in this place, and the presence of God can change lives. And this is the only thing that can transform this city, is what we feel in this house today. This is the only thing that can bring revival into this city. It's the presence of God that we feel in this house today. Don't ever back down off who you are. Don't ever stop worshiping the way that you worship. This is what this city needs. This is what this city is looking for. They're not looking for another cool church. They're not looking for another trendy church. They're looking for a place where they can come broken, busted, and disgusted. And God can take their great mess and turn it into greatness. But it can only happen in the presence of God, because in the presence of God, there is fullness of joy. And at His right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. And whatever this city needs, and whatever these lives in this city are lacking, they can find fullness